Welcome back. We are up to day 5 of backyard ceramics. I laid some more clay out to dry. Actually, the stuff that was on the bisque, not the bisque, the plaster slabs was already dry, so I already mixed that up. The stuff on the newspaper and the bisque bowl are still wet. I think it's just because of the humidity. There's a lot of humidity in this shed. The objects we made yesterday are drying nicely. They're looking pretty good. They're about leather hard right now. Some of the thinner pieces are a little bit harder. And so I thought I might try some of that terra sigillata that I showed you yesterday. So, terra sigillata comes from the Greek. It means earth seal. Terra means earth, sigillata means seal. And I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but that's how I was taught to pronounce it. And the way you make terra sigillata is you make a very thin slip of clay, mostly water, just a little bit of clay. You add a chemical called a deflocculant, and that keeps it from settling out too quickly. When a flocculant makes the particles stick together and settle at the bottom faster, a deflocculant keeps it in suspension longer. So you leave that until the biggest particles settle out, and then you end up with like 3 layers in there. The bottom layer is all the sand and silt and larger particles of clay. The middle layer is all the very, very finest particles of clay, the very smallest particles. And then the top is just clear. So then I just used a jug like this, and I poked a hole and let it pour out, so that I poured out just the middle layer. That's the only part that I wanted, was the middle layer with the fine particles of clay, into a second jug. This was the second jug. And then you get this very thin, you can't even see this, can you? This very thin kind of slip. And when you paint this on, let's see, I made this whistle yesterday, and right now it looks pretty rough, and I wish I had better lighting. So when I paint this on there, it'll give it a nice kind of sheen to it. Not quite shiny like glaze, but definitely shinier than just the raw clay. And because this is leather hard, it's going to take a while for that to actually dry on there. So I won't bore you by showing you the rest of that. So progress check. We got more clay mixed up from the plaster. I'm going to mix more clay later on. We've got these pieces drying. I'm going to paint some of these, more of these with terra sigillata. Give it over the weekend. Hopefully it'll dry up over the weekend. If not, I might actually put it in the oven. And if I set it to below 200 degrees, it'll dry it out without, of course at 212 degrees, the water inside would boil, and then you'd end up having little explosions in your oven. But if I keep it under 200 degrees, that'll drive off the rest of the moisture. And then we can use this little kiln. And I didn't get to show you the inside of it before because my hands are muddy, but there you go. So you can see how small it is on the inside. It's probably maybe 6 or 7 inches. Do I have a ruler in here? With all this junk, you'd think I'd have a ruler. Hey, I have a level that has a ruler on it. Okay, so it is, let's see, 7 inches by 4.5 by 6.5. So not very big at all. Not big enough for me to put, a mug or a bowl in there, but big enough that I can probably fit all these little kiln guards in. So it should work. Oh, so as this is drying, you can see it's starting to look shiny. Maybe if I pull this camera over to the window, you can see this better. Now, parts of it are shiny because it's wet, but the parts that are dry, you can see are starting to get a little bit of a shine to them. Well, I'll show you what that looks like when it's dry too. So, all right, I hope everyone is staying healthy. Don't forget, wash your hands, and I'll see you. Oh, I almost forgot the most important part. How could I forget? I hear his tags out there, so I know he remembers. There's my Jackie boy. There we go. This is what everyone This is what everyone signs on for, Jack. Yes, I love you too. All right, I miss you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.